Yeah. Oh God. That's a terrifying sentence. Speaking of racially charged,
You're right. Speaking of,
I'm here. I'm a DEI guest.
yeah.
I'm here.
Well, yeah. Speaking of racially charged, here's a segue. They removed end racism from the end zones of the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
which happened this past Sunday.
That must mean that they fixed racism.
We're gonna talk about. It definitely means something.
So yeah, the Super Bowl happened.
Super Bowl 59.
What really happened? What really happened, Donovan, is there was a Kendrick Lamar concert and they placed a football game around it.
Yeah, that one. I heard a lot of people saying that before, and it's definitely after, but a lot of people before as well.
And like, Greg, why we're talking sports ball here? We're talking numbers, man. This was the most watched Super Bowl of all time, but it was also the most watched Super Bowl halftime show of all time. Kendrick Lamar beat Michael Jackson's viewership.
Yeah.
That's a crazy sentence to say.
Yeah.
That's the king of pop we're talking about. And that was like peak Michael. Like we were, black or white era. You know what I mean? Like that was like, he was everywhere when that album and that single was popping off.
Yeah.
I watched it because like, I wanted to answer a simple question. Like, where does this Kendrick Lamar halftime show rank for me at the Super Bowl? I think it's third best. Okay. I put Prince at number one. Because he's playing Purple Rain and like pouring rain. And it was just iconic. And he is just an amazing artist. I put Michael Jackson at 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I put Kendrick right there at 3.
Okay.
I think Kendrick's slightly above Dr. Dre's Hip Hop Super Friends performance in LA.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
I loved that. Mm-hmm. Like, that was also great. But then, like, I started, and we'll talk about Kendrick's performance now, but, like, you compare what Kendrick's messaging was to what the LA Superstars messaging was, it was not a treatise on American race relations in LA. Yeah. But if you have a brain, Greg, do not run this. I was very clear. Do not run this as B-roll. I put a ton of pictures in Slack. Use those instead. Okay, Apple will take down this video. You can see they are being super terrible.
I put our things really large to try to cover half of it.
It's not gonna matter, dude. It's Apple. I'm telling you, Tim Cook, do not take down our video. We are a small website just trying to cover news with fair use. I'm just telling you, Greg, I gave you a ton of still images that you could use that are way better than doing this because I don't want to get our channel delisted. I've just seen a lot of channels struggle with it. It's they're being absurd about it, Greg. They're being absurd about how they're doing takedowns. Anyway, because they want all the views, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, what I'm getting at is like Kendrick Lamar took this as an opportunity to talk about America. Right? Like this was not, and he wasn't even saying words about America, but he was talking about it. Like we talked about GNX last year when it came out. I love that album. Tom, I know you've been listening to it.
Yeah.
This was a very GNX focused show. Like, yes, he played some hits.
Had a GNX on stage, and 30 people were somehow inside of it.
It was like a clown car.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome, but also like the colors, Donovan, like coming out of they're all wearing these jumpsuits that are red, white, or blue.
Yep. Yeah.
Obviously those are the colors of our flag, but red and blue are very prominent colors in the gang world between the Crips and the Bloods. And not unlike the Pop-Out concert, these people were shaking hands as they were exiting the GNX, right? Kendrick's on top of the car, spitting that unreleased track that, like, I think it was the teaser for the album. We got new lyrics for that.
Yeah.
So, like, just real quick, this artist is starting a Super Bowl halftime show with a song no one has heard.
Yeah.
That's very ballsy.
Mm-hmm.
But it worked. The light, the shot on the car, like, magnificent framing of shots.
The opening shot, so good.
The cinematography of this entire show was outstanding. The choreography of this entire show was outstanding. Like, I just want to put that out in front.
Yeah.
I think that you're hearing Kai Cenat say, oh, it wasn't that great of a show live if you were in the stadium. I could see that for one reason. Like, you know, these new stadiums, Diamond, they have those big ass screens like SoFi, Dallas.
Mhm.
You don't feel left out if it's a visual event.
Yeah.
No offense to the Superdome, it's old, and their jumbotrons aren't so jumbo. They're kind of like, you know, they're up there, but they're not in the middle. They're not showcasing anything, you know. So I feel like it was such a visual event that, like, if you're just in a stadium and you're hearing it echo through the stadium, it's probably not as exciting. But the whole point is, like, you were there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not feeling bad for anybody that was at the Super Bowl.
No.
But it was definitely like a made for, like, it felt like it was shot for TV, right? Like,
Yes.
there was one clip I saw someone that was sitting up in the crowd, like, recording, and you look down, and on the stage with Kendrick, there's like a lot of camera people right in his face. They're getting the angles, and on TV it looks awesome when they're like, you know, changing directions, moving around. Maybe not so good in the stadium, but there are, you know, a million times more people watching it on a screen than
Did you see the stat that Kendrick had more yards than the Chiefs?
I believe it.
He actually ran across. So let's talk about the stage. I'm going to jump around a little bit because I'm gobsmacked by how wonderful of a performance that was. Like, it's truly an impressive and inspiring thing that he did. So the field is like, the stage is it's a PlayStation buttons layout.
Yeah, they have buttons.
Square
Game Over in the background in the crowd.
Oh, not just Game Over.
It was cool.
So there was a progress bar at the beginning.
Yeah,
it's like an animated progress bar, and he selects the square button. So he starts on the square button. That's where the car is. That's where they come out. But let's talk about Samuel L. Jackson, Uncle Sam, wearing an Uncle Sam outfit and basically playing his character from Chirac. Like, awesome, such a good idea. And like, he's like an NPC, and the concert's basically a video game. So yeah, he starts on the square button. He plays Squabble Up after the GNX intro. And it's like, this is what I was talking to you about though, Diamond, when I heard the album, and I was like, how is he going to perform these live? Because like Squabble Up, he says a lot of offensive words in it. Words that you can't say on TV. So I feel like that song could have hit more than it did because he had to censor himself so much. But then immediately after Squabble Up, he gets interrupted by Uncle Sam telling him, no, this is too ghetto, which is just hilarious. Seeing Samuel L. Jackson tell Kendrick Lamar he's being too ghetto, you know, in front of a very wealthy crowd, right? This is a wealthy crowd. You're not going to the Super Bowl unless you can afford it, right? Or you got a ticket or something. But so I thought that was funny. And he goes straight into Humble, right? Which is like definitely one of his hits. It was on all those NBA, broadcasts and stuff. Like there were ads based on it. But he does it with these dancers in a formation that makes a flag. Like it's the American flag that he's in the middle of.
Yeah, he's in the center.
And I've heard people just talking about how he was like trying to send a message about how America was built on the backs of black people and stuff like that. There's a lot of like, with anything Kendrick Donovan, there's a lot of like interpretation. It's art, right? So you can interpret it however you want. I saw some idiots that were like, hey, look, he's fine. Look at this patriotic person. Like they just saw it as patriotism, right? They're like, he's at least acknowledging the flag, No. He was saying something about the state of America. I love that after Humble, he jumped straight into DNA. And that's when the cinematography really took like a jump, because it's like he gets in that area. I don't know if you saw this, Donovan, but like a lot of people are saying that area between the buttons is the dimensions of a prison yard. Like the shape of a prison yard, like a rectangular prison yard.
Right.
So he starts on one end and he has his backup dancers behind him and he's dancing while singing DNA. And then he gets to the other side of the yard and there's more people dancing there. He flips around. There's a record scratch. I don't know if you heard it on the performance, but like a record scratches as he turns around. They zoom out and that thing that said game over at the end, it says warning, wrong way. And that's when Euphoria hit. And once again, like Euphoria is a song where he's throwing the N-word in every other second there. Like he can't, it's not a radio song. It's one of my favorite songs. I think it's your favorite song from the Beef last year too.
It was my favorite. Yeah, I like Euphoria a lot.
So I was surprised. I was like legit surprised when I heard the Euphoria beat drop hit. I was like, no way is he doing Euphoria.
I was at a bar watching that game in Hollywood because I was out there for the preview event, and when the Euphoria instrumental started, people were like, "Oh no!" They're like, "Oh Jesus Christ, we're actually doing this."
That's when I was like, he's the boogeyman. The boogeyman is here, and he did like that. You know, everything was. I just want to shout out the audio production too. Like these were snippets and repackagings of beats. Like he was jumping verses and stuff. Like this was definitely made for the Super Bowl. And I was really impressed by that. But yeah, so he does Euphoria. He's running back the other way. And it's just, that's where you're really starting to see the cinematography, though. Because you're just like, wow, there's this, there's a shot of him running back across the field. And they had these, like, lights that were just peppering the stage. I don't know if you, like, it was like the strobe effect on the stage that really just made it look cool. And they had these lights that were like lines that made it look like the whole field was fenced in. I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I loved Euphoria. He goes from Euphoria into The Man in the Garden, or Man at the Garden, right? And it's like an a cappella version of it. And Samuel L. Jackson deducts him a life for like, I don't know, it's like race baiting, or I can't remember what he said. He's like, "Oh, you brought your homies for this one." And this is one of those parts, Donovan, that I've seen a lot of people talking about. The men dressed in white, the dancers and the performers dressed in white at the show. There were 16 of them apparently, and that's something he references in Whacked Out Murals. I believe he lost 16 friends.
Okay.
There's also 16 stars on Samuel L. Jackson's jacket. So I don't know if that's intentional or not, but it was interesting. Going from that into Peekaboo, which was hilarious. I don't know if you saw him pop up during Peekaboo. Everyone was laughing. He actually performed his friend's lyrics in that too, like one of the guys who was featured on the track.
Yeah, that guy wasn't there. Yeah.
Song was great. And then we finally get like that tease, man, where he's like, "Hey, ladies, so I want to play that song. I want to play everyone's favorite song." And they're like, "What's that song?" And then the loop hits the Not Like Us.
Yeah, and then they cut it.
And then he's like,
very good.
He's like, "But they love to sue." And I was just like, oh my God. He actually addressed Drake's lawsuit on the stage at a Super Bowl halftime show.
Yeah.
I thought that was ballsy.
That was the question for months at this point. People were like, will he do Not Like Us? Will the NFL let him do? Will he want it? You know, it was so much people were debating about whether or not that song would be performed. So for them to play into it, and then again, like I'm at the bar, he does the they're like, what song? And they do dun, 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 dun. Everybody in the bar rubs like, oh shit. Cut it, and then he goes back to the. And
then he goes, and we get SZA, who, my God, she killed it. She crushed it. And like,
great.
She wasn't there for very long, so we got Luther, which I love Luther. That's a great song. I saw one of these reaction videos where someone's like, "They should have brought Luther Vandross on stage." I'm like, "Dude's dead." I'm like, "The dude's dead."
You would not have wanted to see that on television if they did.
No, but his estate talked about it, and they were very appreciative of Kendrick featuring that song. It's a great song. Sia is an amazing talent, or SZA, sorry, as an amazing talent. And we got All the Stars after that.
I love All the Stars from Black Panther.
That transition, though, the transition was awesome. How he was on stage with SZA, and then he starts walking over to the circle stage. And once again, I just want to talk about the excellent choreography. There's these people walking around the circle. Dot gets in line and is on top of the circle right as All the Stars starts. And then SZA walks over, and she's moving up the circle as Dot is leaving the circle. Like, they're barely on stage. But I thought, like, she was only there for maybe a minute or two. But she crushed. And I saw a video of the stadium experience for that, Donovan. Her voice carried. You could hear her anywhere in that stadium. And, like, it was just noticeable. She's insanely talented. and they're going to on tour together
at another Super Bowl in her lifetime. I will imagine she is.
I hope
very
so.
Talented. Yeah.
And here's just a thought I had watching that show. You know how you make this stadium tour undeniable, the best stadium tour of the year? You get Doechii on this lineup. Doechii opening for Dot and SZA.
Yeah.
That would, like, you would go.
I would. I tried to go to the current iteration of the tour. They're coming to Maryland at the Commander Stadium, but it's too expensive. People resell tickets. But it's
so like,
a big one.
The thought I had was like, man, Doechii would be amazing. So then, like, after all the stars, Samuel L. Jackson comes back and is like, good, this is what we want. Calm. We want it to be calm. And then there comes the loop again. The Not Like Us loop. They really recreated the beat for the Super Bowl. The version of Not Like Us beat that we got was a brand new version. And man, Donovan, we're getting a deluxe album, dude. We are so getting a deluxe album.
I think so. There's gonna be something,
And it's gonna have Euphoria on it, and it's gonna have Not Like Us on it. And my God, if it has Meet the Grams on it, I don't know what I'll do. Can you imagine if he's saying Meet the Grams at the Super Bowl? No.
I can't actually, no.
But I just want to talk about his intro to Not Like Us. He said he said 40 acres and a mule, it's more than the music. There's a report that Donald Trump left the Super Bowl with about 2 minutes left in the halftime performance. I went back and looked at when he said 40 acres and a mule. There's about 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in the performance when he says that.
Mm-hmm.
Younger people might not know what that's a reference to, but that is a reference to the reparations being offered to freed slaves by America.
Yeah.
I don't know if that ever actually worked out. I don't think you ever got your 40 acres and a mule.
No.
How about that?
No, did not. Yeah. I took an African American history class in college. I learned all about that. Yeah. That was a great moment in his performance. I love Kendrick does this really well, where he'll perform existing songs and he will retool the lyrics or add in new lines.
Yeah.
There were a couple of references to like Louisiana and New Orleans, which I thought was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the Not Like Us performance did not disappoint, and it ended up giving us all the memes and most. It is
the most diabolical shit I've ever seen. I'm sorry. This whole last year, Donovan, from like that to now or whatever, like it's been less than a year, but around a year.
Coming up on
this is like a step-by-step algorithm for how to destroy your enemy. Like,
yeah,
this is Art of War shit. But like when he looks at the camera and says "Say Drake" and smiles,
dude, everyone started laughing. Everyone.
That's such a win. That is such a categorical win, Donovan. Like, you can't argue. It's over. It's so over. This battle is over. It's been over. Right? Yeah. And then a whole ass stadium says A minor. After a whole ass auditorium at the Grammys said A minor. Yeah. And it's like, Drake fans, and I'm going to just say it, Drake fans and Trump election deniers, man, that's a Venn diagram that's just a fucking circle. It's the cognitive dissonance morons, man. Like, people who are out there like, that was a bad halftime show. You're a fucking idiot. I'm sorry you can't understand words. I'm sorry you don't do research. Sorry you don't know anything about Black history. Like, it's just, there are so many references, man. Like, that performance is dripping with references to, like, movies, other parts of culture. There's dancing. There's a cappella singing. There's fucking Luther Vandross is in this performance. Like, there's just so much. I saw someone was like, this is one of like the blackest halftime shows in one of the blackest cities in America, as it should be. Mm-hmm. But like, you're gonna be at the Super Bowl and be like, I need a white guy singing rock music. I don't know how to handle this. It's like, come on, dude. The people who were complaining, it was MAGAs and idiots. And boy, MAGAs and idiots, there's a huge overlap there.
I was gonna say, yeah, not too different there.
No, but Drake fans, insufferable. Like, you lost. Take the L. Just lose. Take the L. Be like the Chiefs. Just take the L. Understand that you got clapped at the Super Bowl. Dude, that game was so over by the time Dot was playing. It was over.
When we did our Madden stream on Friday last week, we were like, we're gonna predict the Super Bowl, and it ended up being like 30 something or 40 or whatever to 0. We're like, well, there's no chance the Super Bowl score will be anything close to this. And then with 3 minutes left in the game, it was 40-6, Eagles up. And I was just like, I cannot believe we got here. It was such a like people love to use the term hate watch, like with sports now, whenever like a dynasty or like the favorite is getting destroyed, like, oh, this is a great hate watch. And it's just it's so rare in sports. You just see the entire timeline just celebrating the downfall and demise of a team, like the way people were excited to watch the Chiefs lose, and they got the shit kicked out of them. I mean, from beginning to end, just an old school ass whooping.
And it wasn't just an ass whooping. Their golden boy played like crap, like their quarterback, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, he was getting forced into every terrible situation. He had 1 second to throw. They were killing him. Dude was throwing picks. I mean,
did you hear the stat though? They didn't blitz once.
0, yeah, that's 0 blitzes, and then they pressured him like a million times.
4? That's 4 people versus 5 people, and they dog walked him. Like, and sometimes you had a tight end, sometimes you had a chip from a running back too, and they still couldn't stop 4 people. They're throwing 6, 7 people. It's that line, man. That D line
front is insane. I mean, Jalen Carter, all the guys over there.
Nolan,
Nolan.
Yeah, and then they got that. Their linebacking core was really good too. I was happy to see Graham. He's retiring, like he's going out a winner.
Brandon Graham,
yeah. I was happy to see that. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't really like either team, so I didn't really enjoy watching the Super Bowl. But I was like, okay, cool. Kendrick's halftime is here. I'm gonna watch that, and then I've watched that back like 10 times. It's great, and I keep seeing new stuff. But like, the way that they lit that, I thought was really interesting. Oh yeah, we didn't mention. Yeah, he looks at the camera, he says, "Say Drake," but ending on TV off, equally diabolical.
Yeah.
Because that's a song about turning Drake's TV off at the Super Bowl. And then at the end, of course, it says "Game Over." It was great. I think it's one of the funnier things I've ever seen in music. And as someone who just never liked Drake, I feel right. I feel just dead right about being a Drake hater. I don't even hate Drake. I just don't like him. I've never really enjoyed his music.
And that's fair. That is quite fair. He definitely had his phase once upon a time, at least for my generation growing up. But yeah, those days there have long passed him. I do want to ask you about one aspect of the game that people were talking about from the moment the ball kicked off, and they're still talking about it now. The whole debate between Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, their legacies. Chiefs now losing their second Super Bowl under Mahomes in terrible fashion. Because I do remember, like, for the first couple quarters, right, when the game was first getting out of hand, it's like 21-0, 24-3, whatever. Chiefs are getting their ass kicked, but everyone's kind of doing that thing where in the back of their minds it's like, hey, we watched the Chiefs come back 24-0 against Houston in the playoffs a few years ago. Everyone remembers 28-3 Patriots. Like, we know like what these great quarterbacks can do. Like, we've seen the comeback, so you can't feel safe with those like 3 touchdown leads. And then obviously the Eagles just never let their foot off the gas and they win. But I've seen people say that like, oh, the debate is shut now. Like, Mahomes didn't pull off the Brady comeback. He's now lost a Super Bowl against Brady. He's lost the AFC Championship against Brady, and now he's lost the first Super Bowl that Brady was commentating.
Yeah. So you're asking me if I think that the debate about who the greatest quarterback of all time is over?
Yeah, or maybe at least between them. Maybe, yeah.
No. Tom Brady lost what? 3 Super Bowls?
3 or 4. Yeah. He lost 2 to the Giants. He lost 1 to the Eagles himself.
Yeah.
I think
that's it. Yeah. So he's lost 3 Super Bowls. Mahomes has lost
2. Yeah.
Mahomes is still in his 20s, right?
Yeah.
So no, I don't think it's. I think it's. People forget Brady went 10 years between Super Bowls. So there was like 10 years where people were like, "Oh, it's over. This guy's not better than Montana." Remember, he was chasing Joe Montana.
I saw someone posted that article from like 2011 where it's like, it's over. He's not going to catch Montana.
I wouldn't say it's over, but what I will say is like, I don't think you can keep the Chiefs team together like it's constituted for much longer. Travis Kelce's going to retire at some point.
Mhm.
I think that's happening. I don't think Patrick Mahomes is anywhere near retirement. If he stays healthy, he can challenge Brady still. But like, I don't know. One of those guys gave me a beer cup at a party and let me drink underage at a party. The other one I've never met in my life. So I like Tom Brady more. Tom Brady's my goat.
Right, you're a Michigan man. There you go.
He was a senior when I was a freshman. He got benched. He was benched, Donovan. He was benched in Michigan. And that weekend, we got drunk together. It was great. I don't like either of them. And I honestly, I'm a Midwest fan. Like, I obviously support the Lions now, but I was a Browns fan for several decades. Like, I've never liked either of these teams. So the Patriots and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But like, it's not even close right now. Like, no. Brady is way ahead. And like, Brady did it at two teams. Like, what Brady did in Tampa, I think will solidify him as the GOAT. Because like, we just saw Aaron Rodgers fall flat on his face trying to do that.
Yeah.
Go to a team and turn it around and win them a Super Bowl. Like, it's not easy to do in your 40s. And I think that's the other thing. Tom Brady's longevity is not something that I think is easily recreated.
That's the thing, man. It feels like even if Patrick Mahomes goes on to win like 8 Super Bowls in his career, and maybe he does somehow pass Brady, you can never take away the fact that Tom Brady, at 44 years old, beat him in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
While he was like at the apex of like his rise, and he was like the young hunk. Like, you just can never take that back that they beat them. And Brady, on his way out of the Patriots, knocked him out of the AFC Championship. Like, he can never take those games back. He's never going to play Brady again.
And like,
Brady's retired, but yeah.
And Tom Brady is not the fastest player. He's not the strongest player. He's not the tallest. He's not the buffest.
Did you see that interview clip of him talking about that Super Bowl? It was on Radio Row, where he's talking about playing the Chiefs, and he was like talking about the studying, and he was like, I knew their defense better than they did. And he was like, I didn't snap the ball one time without knowing what they were doing that entire game. And he said himself, he was like, I wasn't like faster than their guys or anything, but yeah, it's crazy.
That's why I will always hold him and Peyton Manning very high in regards to like quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about the greatest football player of all time, in my opinion, it's Jim Brown, and I'll die on that hill.
And Jim Brown's fair pick.
But like, that's a different era, and everyone argues about eras and stuff. And I think you can argue about eras here too, because when Brady got into the league, it was a different era than when Brady left.
Oh, yeah.
This whole roughing the passer change, like all these things, everything benefiting the quarterback.
Flags, it's the funniest shit ever. These games when he's like, "Let the guys play." I'm like, okay, all right, Tom.
Yeah,
you terrorized us for 20 years with this bullshit, man.
Yeah. Tom Brady complaining about the refs is rich. So would the Chiefs fans complaining about refs.
Oh yeah.
And I just think that the Kelce Mahomes era might be ending or over.
It might be.
And like, good for Trav, man. Like, go do your own thing, man. You don't need to keep. Like,
good for him that he got to be part of this at the tail end of his career.
Yeah.
The dude had played like a decade of ball before any of this even became a thing. So.
But like,
looking at.
Talk about the most opportunistic time to start a podcast in the history of the world. He went to 3 straight Super Bowls, Greg. Like, hey, we're going to start a new podcast. First year, him and his co-host brother both go to the Super Bowl. Like, could not script it any better. Their mom is featured everywhere, right? Like, they had a great Super Bowl. Jason loses. Next year, Travis goes back, wins, right? No one has to worry about Jason losing again. But then this year, you get the rematch of the Eagles and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
It's like we want a third one.
Yeah. Huh? I said, and by the way, he's dating Taylor Swift. Their girls.
Like, he's not just dating Taylor Swift though, man. He's got like Pfizer deals and State Farm deals.
He hosts Celebrity. Are you smarter than the 5th grader or whatever he does now? Yeah, he's. My ass would be out the door. I'm
right.
Retired.
Like, you and your brother go make money. Like, there is so much money to be made, and you get to work on your own time, and you don't have to worry about managing your body and eating healthy and like all these things that we take for granted that these superstars do. Yeah, I just want to give Travis Kelce a little bit of love because like, he got shit on for having a poor performance, but during the poor performance, I don't know, he broke Jerry Rice's reception record in the Super Bowl. That's kind of a big deal to be better than Jerry Rice at anything.
Yeah.
In that category, that's crazy. He passed Gronk and Jerry Rice for most receptions in the Super Bowl.
It's insane. I've been a Travis Kelce fan before Mahomes showed up.
Yeah.
I think that if he does retire, this is where the interesting test comes, right? Because the reason that the Brady Patriots run was so impressive was because Brady did it through like multiple like regime changes in New England. Like him in 2019, he was the only dude on that team who was there in 2001. You know, when they were in Super Bowls. There was no like wide receiver who was there for 20 years with him, or
like think about all those linebackers in that first wave of Patriots. You had like Willie McGinnis and Teddy Bruschi. Like all those guys were gone. Rabel, they were gone by the time Brady got that next wave of Super Bowls. He had Edelman and Amendola and Welker and Randy Moss, who he never won a Super Bowl with, but like had that amazing year with Randy Moss.
Yep.
Think about all the running backs that have gone through the Patriots in that time. So it's like, I think it's way premature. I always feel this way. I felt that way about LeBron when they were doing LeBron versus Jordan debates 5-10 years ago. Like, wait until their careers are over and then compare them.
Yeah.
And like, I'll say this because I think it's a very similar debate. Jordan versus LeBron. Like, yeah, LeBron has less championships and he has a worse record in the NBA Finals. Jordan's undefeated in the NBA Finals. He won 6, and you could argue they would have won 8 in a row maybe if he didn't retire.
Yeah.
So like, I think Michael Jordan's the greatest winner in the history of basketball. He's like the most clutch player and the greatest winner. But LeBron James is like the greatest sports story of all time. That's how I would handle it. Like,
I would agree.
I think Jordan I know neither of them came from money, but like LeBron James was living in Section 8 housing with his mom, and his mom was not doing well. No. Like the way that LeBron lifted up his family and his community, I think is a great story. That's different than Michael Jordan's story, but like they both can be awesome. And like, I think that's going to be the case here, but you know, both Mahomes and Brady are MAGAs. So I don't really care for either of them. I like Jalen Hurts' answer when they asked.
I was happy for Jalen Hurts.
How can you not be happy for Jalen Hurts? Yeah. He's never done anything wrong. He's been like a great player, and just like you could see how devastated he was at that last Super Bowl because he played very well. He had like 5 total touchdowns, and then he had 1 fumble that because that's what it boils down to. We talked about it on our stream. 1 turnover, and it's over. 1 pick 6 by Drew.
About this winning the Super Bowl afterwards, where he was like, to be honest, like the pain from losing in 2022 or 2023 hurts more than winning this year felt good. He was like, it still burns.
Yeah.
He was like, that's still like a thing I carry with me, like going into next season, which is kind of, wild to think about. But super happy for him. Happy for Saquon Barkley.
Hell yeah.
Maybe the story of the NFL.
But like also, and this is a reference to anyone here who's watched the Bizarro Wolverine stream. This Super Bowl was a referendum on how Coach Divix coaches them up, Donovan. Who won? You won by running the ball and playing defense.
Yep. Yeah.
It wasn't about being flashy, but the run game opened up the pass. That's how the Bizarro Wolverines play. So in the last 2 years, we saw the Michigan Wolverines win using Coach Divix's playbook, run the damn ball, and then we saw Philly won on the whole year by valuing the running back. And what did we go into the offseason last year with the narrative? Running backs aren't worth the money. And then you look at what Derrick Henry did for his team and what Saquon Barkley did for his team. And all y'all who think that the running back isn't worth the $10 million a year are fucking idiots. They should be paid $20 million a year.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I see people make the comparison where it's like you watch Saquon's run, you watch the Super Bowl, you see him hoist the trophy, and it's like that dude makes less money than like the 9th player on like the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah.
Like depth chart, It's just the
and disparity. He did a fucking reverse hurdle jump over a human being while running.
Over a guy backwards. A professional
jumped
athlete.
Over a guy freaking backwards. Like I don't know if you remember back in that draft. I was like, you draft Saquon and you draft Lamar if you're the Browns. That's what they should have done.
Imagine
how horrible their careers would have gone if they were Browns.
I was gonna say, but that's always the argument is like to those disastrous situation, does Lamar ever become Lamar? Does Saquon become Saquon? It's hard to say.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
Because you need a good culture and you need a good coach. And that's what both these teams had. Andy Reid's a great coach, and Nick Sirianni is a bombastic dude, but he's a great coach. And they both prepared their teams, and just one team didn't play very well. That's all that happened. You know, like it's like it didn't feel like the Chiefs brought their A game.
The Eagles played so well that, like, because I mean, since we've been in this Lamar era, I always look at the show. I'm like, man, if the Ravens were here, blah blah. I'm always like thinking of like how my team would have played. This is the first Super Bowl in the Lamar era that I'm like, we would have gotten our asses kicked. The way that Eagles defense plays, I was like, I do not think the Ravens would have scored many more points than the Chiefs did in this Super Bowl. Like, I didn't even feel like that, like, FOMO of us losing to the Bills anymore after the Super Bowl. I was like, they just kicked the ass of whoever was going to come out of the AFC.
I felt that way about the Lions too, man. I thought the Eagles were the hardest matchup in the entire playoffs for the Lions, and they didn't even make it there.
They didn't get to them.
But it was also the Lions ran out of gas. It's 19 people on injured reserve by the end of the year. I still want to see the Ravens versus the Lions in the Super Bowl. I think that would be a hell of a
I would like to too. And I've seen the lines opened up again where they're like, oh, the favorites. It's either the Chiefs or the Ravens this year. And I love the Lamar Jackson era. I hate the Ravens being favorites. I so desperately miss when this team was always an underdog because they never live up to their
you know what? You guys aren't going to win a Super Bowl with home field advantage. You're going to be like the 6th or the 7th seed.
It's the way they did it in 2012, yeah.
I think that's how you have to do it. You need that chip on your shoulder. But like, I don't think it's that Bills, honestly, the Bills Ravens game might have been the best game of the entire playoffs.
Yeah, I would agree. No.
Like most competitive, most entertained, good matchup. Yeah. But yeah, like the Super Bowl was a wet fart, man. Like the actual game kind of sucked. I didn't and the commercials weren't even that good.
No, not a lot of standouts.
What was your favorite?
I just watched When Harry Met Sally for the first time in January this year. So I like that commercial. I like seeing
Are you going to watch You've Got Mail now?
Yeah, there. Maybe. I want to go back.
It's the spiritual successor to that, right, Craig?
Pretty much.
I need to go back and watch a lot of those classic rom-coms, even Sleepless in Seattle. Which is
I have my favorite. You want to know what my favorite was? Mountain Dew, Baja Blast, with Seal as an actual seal singing Kiss from a Rose. Come on.
I just feel bad for Seal watching that commercial. I don't know. It's just something about it just seemed so sad. I was like, what is going on here? But the flipper thing was funny. I do like my Mountain Dew commercials.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty solid. But otherwise, kind of a whack year for ads. Like, no, I thought Kendrick's ad for his stadium tour was pretty good though. That performance was basically an ad for his stadium tour.
Hey, no crypto ads this year. How about that? That era's gone.
That's strange. I thought that was the future of currency.
I did too. Remember when Crypto.com paid for 30 seconds of a QR code bouncing around the screen like the fucking DVD AFK screen?
Remember the Larry David ad?
Yeah.
And the Shaq ad? And the Tom Brady ad? And the Matt Damon ad?
Yeah. I was surprised there was no like OpenAI or DeepSeek. I was surprised none like
how did they get Matt
Damon? They had an OpenAI ad.
Did he owe somebody money? Did he kill somebody? Like, how did he do that stupid commercial? Matt Damon, he was like, fortune favors the brave. Remember that stupid commercial that was everywhere?
Their agency was invested in it, and they were giving shares of the company to all of their clients.
So money.
Yes.
Great.
A lot.
Money. Lots of
money.
Not
just money, but money on the back end. Like, so they're like, oh, we're going to be rich. We're getting paid in shares of this company. And then,
there are some decent ones. I mean, I like Glenn Powell a lot. So I thought his Goldilocks one was funny with the Ram trucks. I thought that was decent. Flipping through some of these. But yeah, I mean.
It was not a great year for ads.
I don't know what's up with Matthew McConaughey. He's doing more commercials than movies. He's a great actor. Like an amazing actor. I don't know what's happening over there with him, but yeah, I thought that was kind of strange. But...
He is doing a lot of ads. That raining one, that was funny.
Yeah,
it was like he was like eating outdoors. It was like I don't even know what it was an ad for.
I think it was in 2 different Super Bowl commercials, and I'm like, Matthew McConaughey is like a phenomenal actor. Not good. He's a phenomenal actor. I don't know why he's not being in
we didn't mention it. Serena Williams was at the Super Bowl dancing to Not Like Us.
She was, doing her favorite signature dance.
Yeah, which Donovan, we talked about it. The Crip Walk is now mainstream.
Yeah, it'll be in Fortnite eventually.
It is in Fortnite.
Oh, that's right. They did.
It's called the Snoop Walk.
That's right. That's what that was.
It is in Fortnite.
Yeah.
They already got us.
Snoop Walk.
I'm just saying, like, that's insane. That's
Yeah.
fucking crazy. People were so upset about Serena crip walking at Wimbledon, right? Oh my God, how could she do such a thing? And then, like, 12 years later, we're cheering her on. I was cheering her on 12 years ago too, but like, I love Serena Williams. She's awesome. She's awesome. She looked great. She had a great time. She brought her daughter with her.
Talking about Serena Williams made me think. I did really like the Nike ad with all of their women athletes. I think it was their first commercial since like 2019.
Narrated by Doechii.
Well, yeah, remember Doechii? And they go through everyone where they've got Juju Watkins from, I think she plays at
Sha'Carri
UFC.
Richardson.
Sha'Carri Richardson in there. Caitlin Clark, obviously. Yeah, I thought that was a really cool ad.
That was a great ad. That was a great ad.
Did they play a vert ad at the Super Bowl, like on TV, like a vertical video ad? I'm watching a compilation.
Maybe.
One of them is in vert. And I'm like, if they broadcast that vert, wow, it's moving. It's not going. It's here. It's here forever.
I also want to mention that Angel Soft, the toilet paper company, their ad was a commercial or a bathroom.
Just telling you to go to the bathroom.
They just put up a 30-second countdown, and they're like, go
here's your bathroom break. Go now.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
That was a good one. That was good. That's $8 million to do that, though. I don't know if I would do that.
Yeah, there were flashes of like decent ads, but there's some Super Bowls where you come out of it and it's like people are making lists and stuff, but this was not.
This was not that. This was like there were like a handful that were kind of funny. Yeah. And it's like the Super Bowl mystique of ads has kind of worn off now because everyone's announcing their ads the week before. And they're all on YouTube and Twitter.
Already. Yeah.
Same thing with movie trailers. I loved. Look, I'm a shill for Jurassic Park. I love the new Jurassic World trailer. I would have freaked out if that was just that debuted at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, if they just dropped that at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when like I think Stranger Things season 2 like dropped their first trailer at the Super Bowl. Like we didn't know it just boom on TV. That was a huge moment.
I think companies are just
don't do it anymore.
They're afraid of taking the risk that they pay the $8 million and then they end up airing in the fourth quarter of a blowout and no one's watching anymore.
I was watching. I was like, who got the like shitty fourth quarter slot? That's like the Harrison Ford truck
Jeep. I actually liked that ad. That was not a bad ad.
It wasn't bad, but I'm like, boy, I bet Jeep wishes this happened like 3 quarters ago.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I mean, not only is it a 30-point game, but the halftime show is concluded. Everyone has tuned out except for like the sickos who are going to watch the Super Bowl to the very end. Yeah. But that was Super Bowl 59. Next year's Super Bowl 60 in San Francisco. So we'll see. They put out the logo for it. That'll be our
Super Bowl
big one.
X. Is it LX?
I think it's just LX.
LX.
Yeah. It should be Super Bowl 60.
I remember Super Bowl XL. But yeah, that's cool. No, we're very far away from football now, Donovan.
Yeah, long off season.
Off season ahead. We're very far away. Where are we getting news? Aaron Rodgers is out at the Jets, and
hilarious.
That was a disaster. I'm sure your brother's enjoying that.
He is. He's been laughing since day one.
Nice. Yeah. But yeah, I thought the Super Bowl is fine, but that Kendrick Lamar performance is going to stand the test of time, and it was a special treat for the fans. I actually gotta go. I gotta go record a podcast.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine timing because we're about to head out here. But thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Happy birthday!
Oh, thank you.
Happy
birthday!
Thank you. I'm
Mr.
so
Fire
old.
Stingray.
Yes. I am rocking the Fire Stingray today.
It's a good birthday shirt.
I will have a lot to say about this vehicle on the podcast today.
Oh, very nice.
Gotta jump over to another.